Today on Crooked Mustache, we have this, the brand new 2021 Toyota Venza XLE Hybrid. And I'm going to review it and tell you everything it has to offer the person looking for that sporty crossover. Stay tuned. Now, I've borrowed this car from Toyota of Hollywood, one of the largest volume dealers here in South Florida with a huge selection of new and pre-owned cars. If you're looking for your next car, be sure to reach out to Sandra Molina over at Toyota of Hollywood, link in the video description. And be sure to let them know Crooked Mustache sent you. Now, a quick overview. The Toyota Venza was only with us for a short time during its original run, 2009 to 2015. Little tidbit, it was actually built until 2017 here in the States, but that was only for export. If the Highlander was too big, or if the Camry was too small, the Venza was the car for you. Now, things have changed in the market since then, and we have a brand new Venza with a very different look to it and a very different approach. The old one got a 268 horsepower V6 engine, whereas this one has the same hybrid system from the RAV4. So that brings us to today, the 2021 model, which, just as Ford did when it brought the Ranger namesake back to the US, Toyota has brought back the Venza with a tried and true platform that's actually been on sale for a few years. Let's take a look inside. Now, as soon as you step inside the new Venza, you're greeted with a gorgeous interior. Really Lexus levels of luxury in here, without being too busy as I tend to see in the NX and the RX models. Up front, you've got your 2 gauges, similar to what you had in the Sienna, split by the 7-inch information screen. Now, not on this model, but also available on the Limited as an option, is the 10-inch head-up display, which actually gets all of your information in front of you completely in your line of sight, making sure that there are 0 distractions when you're on the road. Personally, I think it looks pretty cool. It's very futuristic, but it is an option even on the highest trim level, so that is worth mentioning. Now, one thing that we really liked from the Sienna, which is also in this car, is you still got your power telescoping wheel and the power seat. But not only that, the wheel and the seat are both tied to the memory functions, which is great for families where this car is shared by more than one driver of varying heights. For example, me and wifey would no longer have the problem of me trying to use the car after she drives it, only to find myself squashed against the steering wheel. That's pretty cool considering that that's a feature on a $50,000 minivan, and they've included it on the mid-range Venza. Now, moving over to the center, this one still has the standard touchscreen, pretty much the same system that's found in the Sienna, although this one does have these huge bezels. I do like that this still has the physical buttons, unlike the optional 12-inch screen, which takes it to a new level of iPad-ness. Again, because we've got the tablet, it's a lower dash line, which keeps everything looking sportier. The AC vents, thanks to them moving the infotainment system up higher, are all in line, so you won't feel like you're constantly being blown up from the bottom. And I do prefer these controls to the touch controls in the fully loaded Limited. You get a knob for your temperature, a knob for your passenger's temperature, and these buttons to control where the air hitting you comes from, where it goes to, and how hard it blows. Now, in the Limited model, this entire panel is controlled actually with capacitive touch, which it looks really cool. I mean, it reminds me of the panels from Star Trek, The Next Generation, not the original, where everything is backlit when you're actually activating it. But from what I see with all this clear plastic, if it wasn't for these buttons, as it is in the Limited, it looks like a fingerprint magnet. And there's no knobs for temperature in that one. That said, I do love where they've put the power button. It felt weird with some models, with some cars that were still trying to shove the power button where you'd normally find the key on an older car. This one makes it feel like the start button in like a jet fighter kind of thing. I love the shifter. One thing to talk about the shifter, now this is a shorter version of what's found in the Camry. Sadly, this is a Toyota after all, so even though this does have a really cool sequential mode for the gearbox, you're only going to be able to actuate it from the shifter, since the absence of an SE trim level within the Venza means there's no paddles at all on any of the cars. Moving down, you've got your drive modes, all selectable, much more easily accessible. Further back, you've got your cup holders, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out that not only does this model have heated seats, it also has air-conditioned seats as well. By the way, also in the XLE is a heated steering wheel. Down here, you've got your extra cubby hole, as well as a little tray to keep, extra set of keys, change, if anybody keeps change in their car anymore. Now, one thing worth mentioning, above me, you'll see that there's no sunroof. In this car, you get one option, and that is the panoramic glass roof above you that has the trade-off of losing your roof rail. So it really does become a thing that if you want the beauty side of this car, you're gonna lose out a little bit on the utilitarianism. The cool part with that roof is that it's a privacy glass roof, which means that at the touch of a button, you can actually completely block out light, so it's not a permanent open sunroof. Now, on top of everything else, Toyota Venza is equipped with the Toyota Safetysense 2.0 suite of safety features. This includes collision warning with pedestrian avoidance. It'll read traffic signs. It has lane departure warning, lane keep assist with steering assist. And then two new features that I was interested in is the active cornering assist, which will actually use the stability control of the vehicle to help get you back in line if it detects understeer in a turn, as well as hill control assist, which, given the fact that we're in Florida, we may not have a lot of hills, but if you've ever been in a very steep ramp at a parking garage and taking your foot off the gas, that rollback that you feel, the hill keep assist will help with that as well. Also, for anyone living in a northern climate where sometimes the roads may be slippery on a hill due to weather, this will also help you safely accelerate forward. Now, before we move on to the back seat, let's check out the audio system in this thing. Toyota's really come a long way with their stock systems. And I've heard the JBL system in the Sienna, that's really good, but this ain't too shabby either. So let's move on to the back seat. So actually the seat is again in the same position that I was up front, and I'm comfortable. Remember, this is not classified as a big SUV. This is actually considered a compact, and this is extremely comfortable. I have tons of headroom. I mean, again, I wouldn't sit three of me back here, but back here we finally have rear seat air conditioning to keep you cool or warm depending on the climate. Each passenger gets their own 2-amp USB charger to keep their devices powered up. You've got a cup holder in each door, which will hold a 24-ounce bottle. You've got your armrest, 2 cup holders. There's enough space in this car to seat 4 adults absolutely comfortably, more than enough room. Now, one thing we talked about in the Corolla, which the Venza still does, albeit a different way, the Corolla has little plastic covers over the anchor points for child seats. Now, while this one doesn't use the actual covers, I actually do like the way that they've done it in here as well. Rather than burying the loops between behind the seats where you would have to separate the seat from the seat back, they've actually just got the hooks just barely exposed, enough for you to actually get a hook over it, and it's covered in material that won't get destroyed, like this perforated seat center, which looks really nice. It's very comfortable. Behind you, you've got your typical 60/40 folding rear seats, and now we're going to talk about cargo space. Now, under this very clearly Jaguar-inspired rear shape, I'm seeing a lot of F-Pace in here, hides the cargo area, which is full of our stuff. For a change, it seems that Toyota actually wants to give you the tonneau cover that is normally otherwise an optional extra. And it's really nice. It gives this more of a hatchback feel rather than a little CUV. Now back here you get 28 cubic feet. You can get 55 if you throw the seats forward, which is very reasonable for its class, especially competing with the Nissan Murano and the Ford Edge. If you want more space, the RAV4 is going to be your option, but the RAV4 doesn't share the same style as this. Now, moving on to the styling, it's very clear that this car shares the platform and most of its understructure with the RAV4. In fact, we'll get to the powertrain in a second, but even though this is a shared platform with the RAV4 and the Lexus NX RX models, the Venza has its own looks. It is really, really good. I think they came close to that Lexus vibe without sticking an L on the badge. But I love this sloped back, gives a very Jaguar F-Pace look. I'd even say that down the side, there's a hint of Maserati Levante in it. Now the front is very much subdued compared to the Maserati and the Jaguar. Obviously, those are cars in completely different price categories. But then even if you come back down to earth, compared to the CX-5, this is much more attractive. Now under the hood is exactly the same powertrain that you'd find in the RAV4 hybrid, not the Prime, that's different. In this, you're going to find the same 2.5 liter version of Toyota's dynamic force engine, which puts out 176 horsepower on its own, coupled with the electric hybrid system from the RAV4. Now combined, it gives you a net 219 horsepower on the road, which translates to give you 37 miles per gallon combined. That's city highway, with you should see 40 miles an hour on the 40 miles an hour, or you should see 40 miles per gallon in the city, 39 on the highway. Weird math that Toyota did right there. Now it's time to take it for a ride and see how it drives. Let me make a small adjustment to the steering column here. So unfortunately, I had no way of knowing that my mic pack had actually died on me. As you can see, I am aimlessly talking to the camera. I'll cover my points here. Let's talk acceleration. The hybrid package in the Venza, this 219 net horsepower, it does not feel that little. It truly feels like the V6 from the old one. It feels like a much more powerful engine under the hood, and it accelerates like that. Merging into traffic on the highway, off the off-ramp. Let's talk ride comfort. In terms of ride comfort, the vehicle is incredibly comfortable. I found myself hunting imperfections in the road reflector, transitions in the pavement, simply to try and find a weakness in this ride cabin. This is one of the quieter vehicles we've tested so far. Let's talk safety features. You have pre-collision warning, you have dynamic range cruise control with stop and go, lane keep assist with steering assist that will actually help guide the vehicle back into your lane, as well as warn you if you cross over. Even available on the Limited is the same feature that we saw on the Limited Sienna, which is that camera built into the rear view mirror. In terms of what you're getting when you purchase a Venza, from my perspective, I really feel that the Venza punches way above its weight. And if they offer this vehicle in a Prime with that kind of powertrain under the hood, this thing, it will officially be in another level. So that's the 2021 Toyota Venza Hybrid, the elegant, more mature alternative to the Toyota RAV4. The RAV4 in a dinner jacket, if you will. It sprinkles Lexus levels of luxury on top while sharing its hybrid powertrain and underpinnings with the RAV4. And who said there was anything wrong with the RAV4? I know I did, but that was the last version. Anyways, I'm Alfred. Thank you for watching Crooked Mustache. We'll see you next time.